Hello ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today on Tuesday, March 3rd for this week's Technique Tuesday, and I'm super excited. I know I start that with every week, but this week I'm more than super excited because tomorrow morning I am heading off to Sydney for the annual Stampin' Up convention. It is called On Stage, and it is a 3-day fun-filled festival of craft, creating, new product launches, recognition, time with my team members. I've got there's 11, including myself, that are heading to Sydney for On Stage. I've got some team members from Queensland, from the ACT, South Australia, of course, and also Victoria, meeting me in Sydney. Some of the girls have already started to travel, and tomorrow morning, myself and one of my team members head off. So I am so pumped, and I thought I better get this Technique Tuesday done before I need to sign off for the week in the office and get ready to head to Sydney. I cannot wait to come home and share all of the exciting news with you all. For those of you that are watching live, we've got both of the Sonias here, Sonia J and Sonia G. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that attended my scrapbooking retreat weekend over the March long weekend. We had such a beautiful time at Nunyara. I'm hosting another retreat in November, so stay tuned for that. I'm already fully booked, but I'm looking to host 2 retreats in 2027 as well. So stay tuned for all of that news. For my ladies that attended retreat, they have already seen this layout because I actually created this while we were up at Nunyara Conference Centre in Belair. And my retreat ladies got to have a little bit of a sneak peek and a play with this new stamp set. So I did demonstrate this last week, but I'm putting it in this week's challenge again because it is one of the March new online exclusives. So this simple alphabet stamp set I knew was going to be super popular with my scrapbookers because, as you can see here, you can cut down 1 inch by 1 inch squares and you can create a beautiful title for your scrapbook layouts. You can, of course, also stamp the simple alphabet stamp set straight onto your scrapbook layout, but I do love this square effect. I think it looks super cool. And I have to tell you, I think everyone, I know everyone that was at my retreat on the weekend actually used this stamp set on their layout. So next week's challenge, I'm going to be sharing one of the new March online exclusives with you. It's called Delicate Dreams. I typically don't deter from my monthly schedule. So this week we are working with the Love Story Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. This is on pages 8 and 9 of your mini catalogue. It coordinates with the Made with Love Sweet Collection and also the Love Story Scrapbooking from Scratch products. So I'm going to go through in a little bit more detail at the end of the video today, sharing some of the products that I've used with you. But let's start with the pattern. Most importantly, we are creating pattern mainframe backdrop. It's on page 58 of the Reflections How to Scrapbook program. This is an old scrapbook program book that I have got sitting on my shelf, and we are going back to basics. If you've got an account with Amazon, some of my customers have been able to purchase a hard copy of this scrapbooking how to program book from Amazon. So I'm excited to get back to basics with you. Now, as you can see, this is a very basic layout. You're going to need 2 sheets of coordinating designer series paper, or you can use cardstock. I have used designer series paper from the mixed in paper pack, so I'm going to share that with you a little later in the video. So that is my base, and then you're going to need 2 strips of 12-inch paper, which will run down out the outside of your page. I have opted for just plain cardstock, and I have used the Strawberry Slush cardstock. This is one of the coordinating colors with this particular sweet collection. This is the lighter side of Strawberry Slush, okay? So it's much more of a bright pink cardstock color that you've got there. And you're going to put this 4-inch strip, you're going to stick this 1 inch in from the outside of your pages. Now, that is it in terms of paper. There is another cutting dimension here, but this is if you are going to use a 5 by 7 inch photo. You can cut a 6 by 8 inch piece of cardstock or designer series paper to use as your photo mat. Now, I am not using one photo. If you've been following me for some time, one of the things that I'm very passionate about with my scrapbooking is lots of photos and, of course, the story. So if you are working, it's a little tricky with the main frame because at the moment we're not really doing main frame in terms of like one photo to a page. This would look great if you wanted to do a single page layout as a title page perhaps in your scrapbook album. But for me, what I'm encouraging you to do is basically get the base of your papers down, and then I want you to select your photos that you're going to use on your layout. And then what I do, I've been talking about this a lot the last few weeks, is you're going to crop your photos down to the best size that suits your particular photo. So these all started as standard 4 by 6 inch photos, and I've cut them down to either 4 by 4 inch or 3 by 4 inch in portrait or 3 by 4 inch in landscape. They are pretty much your stock standard scrapbook size photos, okay? Now, because I've cut all of my photos down, I do quite often will mat my photos with coordinating cardstock. So the cardstock color I've used to mat all my photos is Bubble Bath. It's the lighter side of Bubble Bath, which is a 2-tone cardstock, and that is also my nail polish color today for this week's challenge. So I've matted all my photos. Now, if I've got a 4 by 4 inch photo, I'm going to cut my mat at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. If I have a 3 by 4 inch photo, I'm going to cut my mat at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so all these photos have been matted. I do actually have a couple of leftover photos, but I didn't take my flip flaps to retreat with me. I might end up putting some flip flaps on this layout, but I've already posted it as is, so I may or may not add that after. Now, once you've got your dimensions of your paper down and you've cropped all your photos and you've decided whether you want to add cardstock mats to them or not, you can have a bit of a play around with your orientation and where your photos are going to go. I decided to start on the inside and work my way out. So I've left a 1/2 inch border around the top and bottom and the sides of my scrapbook layout, and I've started on the inside and worked my way out. So some of my photos are overlapping this 4-inch strip. And I've done that because I'm creating a die border, which is this week's technique. Hi ladies, I am back. Thank you so much for your patience. Excuse me. My internet just dropped out there. Oh my gosh. I think I might have to look at the time I'm going live. It seems to be this time in the afternoon where it gets a little bit tricky. Okay, so let's get back to my layout. Apologies for the interruption to our broadcast there. Okay, so I was talking about embellishing my layout. I've actually got a 1/2 inch sticker strip running down the side of my 4-inch bit of cardstock. I've only just cut that and then just tuck the end of the sticker inside there. So the sticker's actually not running all of the way through my layout. Oh my gosh, as you can see here, I've just realized that I might have to tuck a little bit of the sticker into here. So quite often what I'll do, especially if I've got leftover sticker, is I'll just cut it and tuck it in and underneath the photo rather than wasting that 12-inch strip and running it all the way through. You can see that I've done that on the right hand side page as well, and there's no little sticker through here. I've only just noticed that now. Isn't that funny how we pick those things up a little bit later on? So that is where that sticker embellishment comes in. These stickers here, we belong together, and the little floral cluster I've got here, these are also stickers that were left over from my Love Story scrapbooking workshop kit. And then in terms of the rest of the embellishing, let's turn my page on the side here, and I'm going to get this in the middle so you can see how I've actually lined up my border. So what I did, now there are some beautiful dies that are in the mini catalogue that are from the Made with Love suite. So these dies here, I've got the sticker over the top of them. So product number 2 on page 31 of your mini has got some dies. Now you can purchase the Endless Love dies on their own for $49. This is Australian dollars. Or you can pair this together as a bundle, and you can get the stamp and the die bundle together at a 10% discount. If you get it as a bundle, it's $75.50. Now these heart dies, you might be thinking they look a little bit different to the ones that I've actually used on my scrapbook layout, and that's because I actually already had some heart dies left over from my time when I was a maker with Close to My Heart. So these are a 4-pack of dies. If I didn't have heart dies, I would absolutely have ordered those Endless Love dies. So you can see here we've got 4 hearts in different shapes. And what I did was, using the scraps left over, the leftover paper from my Love Story Scrapbooking Workshop kit, I have cut out a number. I've used them on the right-hand side page here as an embellishment cluster. I have cut out a number of different size dies, and I've put them in little piles. In some instance, I've used the floral DSP on the back because we did have a little bit of a floral headband and glasses vibe happening that day. I can't remember if this was like a fancy dress. I don't think, it wasn't fancy dress, but I think we were going with like a little bit of a boho sort of theme guide. Oh my gosh, I can't get my words out today. We were going with a boho theme vibe for the day. So you can see that I've used some of the floral paper from the Love Story Scrapbooking Workshop kit, and some with just the hearts. Okay, so I've got one large heart that I've started here in the middle, right in the middle of the 6 inches, and then I laid some other hearts out to see if I could get an even placed border. So I have used my measurements running along the top of my Versamat here. I started with the larger heart at 6 inches, and then I've got 2 of the next size hearts down tucked in underneath. So this large one I started by popping dimensionals underneath the heart, and then that way I could tuck the other 2 hearts in underneath. The next one's on the outside. I've done this size here, and these were popped up with dimensionals, and then I've got these ones flat tucked in underneath, and I've got the 2 smallest hearts on the outside. So what I would suggest that you do when you're creating your die border is to cut out all your different shapes sort of dies that you want to use for your border, and lay all of the paper pieces out on your layout first, using the measurements from your Versamat to make sure that you can get this border lined up evenly. And then I stuck those down using a combination of the dimensionals and then just my normal Stamp and Seal adhesive. And I'm really happy with how that worked out. I've actually used the same, I've applied the same technique with making sure my letter border was evenly placed as well. So I've cut out all of my 1 by 1 inch squares, just using some of my scrap white willow cardstock. I've stamped my title on the squares using the simple alphabet stamp, and I've used the Pretty in Pink ink pad. Now this Pretty in Pink is actually not one of the coordinating colours that goes with this particular suite, but it doesn't matter, it's pink, so it goes beautifully. Now what I did was I stamped the word Shelley and then the numbers 45, and then I have laid out those squares on my layout first. You can see that I've evenly placed the square over the top of the cardstock where it's met the designer series paper, and I've used my mat to line that up so the square is placed evenly over the 11 inches. Going from the 10.5 to the 11.5. Okay, so that's the beauty about this particular style of mat. Stampin' Up! Don't do a 12 by 12 inch mat, which is a little disappointing. We have definitely made suggestions for that. They have quite a large glass mat, which is great if you're doing sort of like mixed media and using lots of inks and paints and ink refills. I really struggled to use the glass mat for my 12 by 12 inch scrapbooking, so I have kept my Versamat, and hopefully they might listen to our suggestions for a 12 by 12 inch mat later on down the track. It's especially handy for new scrapbookers. So I have used my 1/4 inch guide there to run my border evenly down the side. In terms of my embellishment cluster here, because I did punch out a whole heap of hearts using my leftover scraps, I did the die border first. So my suggestion would be to do your die border first, and then you're going to know how many hearts you've got, or how many, depending on the dies that you're using, you'll know how many of the die pieces you've got left over in terms of creating further embellishment clusters. So I did cut out one large die just with my white willow, and this became my journal box. My suggestion to you would be to journal before you stick your love heart down, especially because I've added dimensionals onto that love heart there. So I've started with my bigger heart, and then I've just gone and pieced some of the smaller hearts in and around. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those hearts there. And then I did another little heart cluster over the top here with using some of the leftover heart stickers from my Love Story Scrapbooking Workshop kit. So when I look to putting my embellishment clusters on, this is quite a large focal point here. I've used the large heart in the middle to put one of the stickers on there, and I've also done some stamped banners, which I'm going to demonstrate to you today. So I've ended up with sort of like this triangular embellishment cluster piecing here, coming from the left to the right. I've got one up the top here, and then another little cluster just down the bottom here, just to sort of even that out nicely. I've used a combination of dimensionals and then also just my plain Stamp and Seal adhesive to do my embellishment cluster. And then I finished off with some white dots. Now these are new, and I've actually got a copy of my March online exclusives. I did email this to all of you last week, but this is the PDF version of the March 2026 online exclusive products. I've used the natural matte dots in white. These are from the Delicate Dreams Sweet collection. You can purchase these dots just on their own, so they were $14 for a pack, and you'll see it here at the back of the PDF just on their own. So even though these particular dots came from a completely different suite, the white dots help to really finish off my embellishment clusters here on my scrapbook layout. Okay, so I want to share the banner sayings with you. Now this is a bundle, so I purchased the 3-punch banner and the stamp set together as a bundle, and this has been a great way for me to embellish my scrapbook layout. So I was starting to run out of stickers from my Scrapbooking Workshop kit left over, but also some of the stickers that were left over didn't really kind of go with the theme of my girlfriend's birthday. So the thing that I love about this banner saying stamp set is that these stamps are designed to be a perfect fit for each of these 3 banners that you can punch out using this punch. Okay, I've used Here's to You for the birthday, You Are Loved, the good old happy birthday, and then of course Celebrate. I also use these banner sayings on cards as well. So you can see I've made some thank you cards using the banner sayings, and also some hello friend. It's just a really cute little sentiment that is so quick and easy to do. In fact, I actually whipped up about, I can tell you 30 cards last week just using these banner sayings. So if you're looking to really smash out a whole heap of cards with lots of little different sayings on them, this is a fantastic bundle to have in your arsenal of card making supplies. Now, you all know that I'm predominantly a scrapbooker. I do still love to make cards. As you can see, my cards are very simple, very basic. These are samples of the cards that we made at my customer retreat on the weekend. But the reason I still obviously like to create cards and send handmade cards, but if I'm going to make them, I like to make them in bulk or large batches. So you can see this particular stamp set. Let me put this underneath the white so you can see it a bit better. You can see this particular stamp set. The little sentiments are just a perfect fit for these banners. They obviously also make great little sentiments and sayings that you can incorporate onto your scrapbook pages by creating some clusters. If you don't have stickers, because quite often we do have sweets. So for example, this is the Delicate Dreams sweets that my customers worked with at retreat on the weekend. This sweets don't come with stickers, okay? There is no sticker sheet that comes with the sweet. You do have to purchase a designer series paper with stickers separately, and not all of the sweets come with a coordinating designer series paper pack and sticker sheet. So this is where if you like to create your own, and you can turn these into stickers. If I put adhesive sheets on the back of this cardstock, it would become a sticker instead of just sticking it on with adhesive, okay? So you certainly can make your own stickers, but if you are wanting some sayings that are quick and easy to stamp and use as embellishment clusters on your scrapbook layouts, but also make cards at the same time, I'm telling you, this one is a great tool to have in your arsenal. I don't quite often invest in lots of stamp sets because I am predominantly a scrapbooker, and I've been with Stampin' Up for 2 years now, so we are seeing lots of larger stamp sets come into the range, like the Simple Alphabet, which are perfect for scrapbookers. And I'm super excited to see what else is coming next with the launch of the new May to August catalogue. So I've got my Stampin' Pierce mat here. Something I love to keep on hand is a little baggie of all of my paper scraps. And these paper scraps are perfect to punch out your banner sayings. So let's just grab a couple of these out that I know will work really well. So with my banner saying punch, you're going to flip this upside down. There's a little clip here that actually collapses and releases and also locks in and closes your punch. So then you can store this in your crafty area, and on the front it's got a picture of what the punch is on the top, okay? So we're going to open that up, and the thing I love about this, like this is going to actually punch out 3 banners at the same time. So do I love products that are going to be productive, increase my productivity and make it quicker and easier for me to create? Absolutely, hallelujah. So I've just popped the cardstock in there. I'm holding that cardstock in place just by slightly closing that punch. And when I apply pressure, that's actually going to punch through. And you can see here, I've got no waste of cardstock. I can throw that in the bin. Quite often we end up with like 3/4 inches or 1 inch strips of paper. This is a great little punch, even if you just want to feed that 1 inch strip through and just keep punching. Like, it's not often that I will whip out 30 cards, but if I'm going to whip out 30 cards, let me tell you, I want to make best use of my time, and I want to do it quickly, and I want to do it easily, okay? So let's pop these. I've just got these on my Stampin' Pierce mat. I have got, let's do Strawberry Slush today. And I had a block here good to go as well. So let's do that. I'm going to peel the backing off of my stamp set. And I desperately need some happy birthday cards. So I'm going to be very boring, and I'm actually going to stamp these all happy birthday. I'm taking the stamp off of the carrier sheet, and I'm just sticking that onto my block here. I'm going to press open my classic Stampin' Pad, and we are going to pop that here. And I am going to just lightly tap that stamp onto my ink pad, and we are going to stamp happy birthday over the top of these. Oh, I've already pressed it down too hard. Over the top of these banners that I've just punched out. Now, let me get my, because that's going to annoy me. Where is my chamois? I've got my chamois in here. Let's just open that up, and I'm going to wipe that excess off because I don't want that pink ink on my block. So we just need to tap it. We don't need to press it too hard into the foam. And I'm going to go along and stamp all of these little happy birthday sentiments. So obviously there's lots of different sentiments that you can use for your card making and of course your scrapbooking. My suggestion would be to punch out your banner sayings first of all using the punch. And then look how quick that was for me. I've got 6 happy birthday sentiments good to go. And one thing I do love to do is create, so these cards that I've made, these were made using leftovers from my designer series paper and coordinating cardstock, and this enables me to get stamped cards done really quickly and easily. I can bulk prep them and then get them out in happy mail to the people that I'm sending those to. So I will quite often, once I have done my scrapbooking workshop kit for the month and then I've created my challenges, if I've got leftovers, I will use those leftovers to make up some cards from the scraps in my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I will be sure to drop links to all of the products that I have shared with you today. But once you have the die border, I decided not to actually show cutting the dies today because I have done die cutting quite often, and it is going to really depend on which dies you use. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, I cut out lots of different sizes and in papers of the dies. I do have some hearts left over, so there we go. I've got hearts ready to go straight onto a scrapbook layout. I really wanted to show you today how you can use this banner sayings punch and this coordinating stamp set. Now you can of course buy each of these products individually. You can get the stamp set on its own and you can get the punch on its own, but if you buy it together as a bundle you do get a 10% discount. So this is going to be a stamp set that I will have on rotation quite a lot in my crafting. Now, I can't wait to see what all of you ladies come up with this week for the scrapbooking challenge. Thank you so much to Donna and Julie and Sonia for joining me live today. Please post your scrapbooking layouts using the pattern I've posted in our Facebook group, and I will be sure to put links to all of the products that I've shared with you today in the video. Here's my little stamped banner sayings, just made as little clusters. So fun. Have a great week, everyone. I can't wait to share all of the news with you from on stage in Sydney. Be sure to be following me on the socials, Scrapbooking with Sarah, across all of those platforms, so you can see the fun that we are going to be having in Sydney this week. Bye for now.